Hi, this is Tim Bost, the editor of FinancialCyclesWeekly.com, and we're here to talk about how a solar eclipse can slam world events for months to come after the actual date of the eclipse itself. And that's why we want to focus on this today. You know, solar eclipses are a remarkable phenomenon. We get about 2 of them in the course of a year, and they happen at very specific times, and the eclipse path will impact very specific places on the face of the earth. Not all eclipses are visible from all places on the surface of the globe. But what's remarkable is the fact that there are longer-term effects on world events and financial markets long after the actual date of the eclipse itself. For example, we had the solar eclipse which occurred on January 15th, 2010, and this was an eclipse at about 25 degrees of Capricorn. It was a very impactful event on world affairs, but we saw most of the events happen months after the eclipse itself. Here's what transpired. The eclipse activations by transiting planets can trigger very, very dramatic events in politics, in world affairs, and in the financial markets as well, which is why we're concerned about the longer-term impact of solar eclipses. In this particular case, with the January eclipse, on the 6th of February, we had Mercury conjoining the eclipse point in the chart, and at the same time transiting Venus linked up with Chiron in the chart, the planet associated with problematical conditions. And when that transpired, we saw in San Diego, California, a man arrested after throwing firebombs. A 26-year-old San Diego man threw a firebomb at a pickup truck in Mission Bay, which completely destroyed that vehicle, after also firebombing the San Diego Police Department's Mid-City Station and the Monroe Clark Middle School on the previous afternoon. Hours later, after this date, on the exact date of the eclipse activation, he also threw a Molotov cocktail at the Eastern Division Police Station and then firebombed a home in Serra Mesa before being apprehended by the police. So this was a very dramatic event triggered right by the eclipse activation on the 6th of February. Then in March, on March 14th, we had a combination of the Sun and Mercury sitting right on top of Uranus in the solar eclipse horoscope. Uranus is the planet associated with sudden events, explosive surprises, and things of that sort, which was when we got a 6.5 magnitude earthquake right off the coast of Japan, near the east coast of Honshu, Japan. 6.5 magnitude quake, a huge seismic event, again, right on the date of an eclipse activation. Then, in April, on the 20th of April, we had transiting Venus forming a square, a 90-degree angle to Chiron again, and Neptune, the planet associated with things relating to the sea and petroleum and things that are uncertain and hidden, and also forming a conjunction with the trans-Neptunian factor Admetos, which creates very, very severe circumstances and severe limits. And it was on exactly April 20th, the date of this eclipse activation, of course, that we had the explosion of the BP Deepwater Horizon oil rig platform in the Gulf of Mexico, creating a huge event at the time, and then, of course, a couple of months of a major, major oil leak, probably the worst environmental disaster in the history of the planet. So again, an eclipse activation exactly timed this very significant event. Then in May, on the 6th of May, we had the Sun lining up with a 90-degree angle to Mars in the eclipse chart at the same time that transiting Mars was conjoining the Mars position in that eclipse chart. Kind of a double whammy there, a very, very stressful situation, and it was on May 6th that we got a huge drop in the Dow Jones Industrials. The stock market went through an intraday crash. They said it was some kind of a technical error. It was known as the flash crash. We're discovering since that point, of course, that this was a very significant low in the markets at that date, and it was a harbinger of things to come with downside energies in the stock market. So again, a key financial event in this case triggered exactly by eclipse activations. That's why it's so important to pay attention not just to the dates and places that eclipses occur when they happen, but also to be knowledgeable about the longer-term effects on world events and the financial markets. And what we do is publish eclipse reports twice a year with every solar eclipse to give you the exact dates when those activation points occur for months after the eclipse. I encourage you to get your copy of the Solar Eclipse of July 2010, its impact on the markets. You'll find it at http://tinyurl.com, July Eclipse 2010. This is Tim Bost with FinancialCyclesWeekly.com. Thanks for watching.